Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you, Joanna.
Actually, good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon. That is true. We've been doing this for a little bit, but we are super excited to be here today for the official ribbon cutting at Reiche. Let's give a round of applause as we celebrate the official ribbon cutting here. My name's Reiche Scallan. I am the Superintendent of Portland Public Schools, and I have the pleasure of welcoming you here to celebrate our community success in providing Portland Public School students with these beautiful, improved facilities, in particular at Reiche School. These renovations were essential to facilitate improved teaching, learning, and to build strong, safe school communities, all of which are foundational to the equity, achievement, whole student goals of our new strategic plan. The renovations you see here today and that students have been experiencing throughout the first couple of weeks of school are the results of the work of many people, both past and present, who have given their time, service, and effort to this work. I'd like to take this opportunity to express some gratitude before we open up to some other speakers. In particular, our heartfelt thanks from the district go out to the City of Portland and to the community who approved this bond to make this possible. So thank you. Our city councilors and to Mayor Mark Dian, who continue to champion the work of Portland Public Schools. Thank you. State Senator Dian, who is here with us today, and her championship of the Portland Public Schools. Current and former members of the Portland Board of Education, including board member Emily Figdor. I'm looking around to see who else is here. Vice Chair Mickey Bondo, as well as, oh, you're going to test my history memory on this. I'm so new. Oh my gosh, you got to remind me. You got to remind me.
Sarah Thompson.
Sarah Thompson. I'm so sorry. Thank you again for your support. This work can't happen without the support of our facilities team, both for the planning as well as during construction to move around all of the room, equipment, tables, chairs to make sure that classrooms could happen while construction was taking place, as well as to the work that custodians do every day to make sure that the buildings remain strong, welcoming, clean classrooms. So a big thank you to our facilities team for all their work. If you live around Reiche, you know that construction doesn't happen quietly. And so thank you to everybody around the school. You put up with construction, traffic noise, and other disruptions so that we can complete these projects. Thank you for your understanding and tolerance. Your patience helped to make this possible, so thank you. At Reiche, there's simply too many teacher leaders to name them all, and so I fear missing some, but just a huge thank you to not only our current teacher leaders, but all that were here before for all of your patience and understanding. Being a teacher leader is immensely hard on just a normal day, let alone when you're living through construction and trying to manage all of that. So I see many of you here and some that aren't here today, but just thank you for everything that you did. If we can give them a round of applause for that. And then last but certainly not least, the families, staff, students, and all the other members of the public for their participation and feedback throughout this process. You helped ensure that these great renovations match the needs, the values, and what we cherish so much in Portland Public Schools. Thank you for making sure that we have great spaces, great environments in which our learning is able to take place. And so thank you for your contributions as we went through this. Thank you. With that, I am excited to welcome up Mayor Mark Dian to share some words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, Superintendent, to speak today. I'll begin on a personal note. My two granddaughters flew in from San Diego, California last night, so my house is a whole lot noisier this morning than it has been for months. And I sat down with my two granddaughters, and the eldest one was on my knee, and I asked her about school. She just started kindergarten. She loves it. I said, "What's your teacher's name?" She says, "Mrs. Hudson." "What do you think about her?" She goes, "I love her. She helps me with everything." And she went through a litany of things that they do in the class. And then I grabbed Noah and said, "How's it going for you?" And she was so excited. She's in well, they call in California transitional kindergarten. And she had to demonstrate to me her competency with the alphabet. And she was so proud that she'd done this. And it made me feel good as a grandfather. And I was proud that they are welcomed into a new community called school. The eldest, Carson, said, "Wow, I'm in the real big school now," right? So she recognizes that she's in transition, and it's very safe for her and welcoming, and she's excited. And I'm pleased by that. My daughters are the product of the public school system here in Portland, and it's served them well. And everything they learned, they've passed on to their daughters. And so you see a legacy there. So I was excited about that. One of the schools over at Presumpscot, I was so excited about the grand opening, I showed up a month early. I did. I sat in the hallway, very dutiful, with my head down, waiting for someone to recognize me or speak to me. And there was no one in the building, it seemed like. And then the vice principal came out, sat next to me, asked me why I was there. And I could see she took a moment to try to figure out how to break it to me that I was a little anxious, a little too eager for this opening. So I was there today at the right day and the right time to do that. And I want you to know, especially here at Reiche, the journey for me in support of this initiative began here, all right? And then it went out through the city, and now it's fitting that we close our opening process here at Reiche. But I want you to know that I want to honor three people that made this happen. Yes, it was a team effort. Many of you participated, but there were three key individuals. First, Emily Figdor. Right. Her vision, her passion, her commitment to realize this dream surpassed anyone that I've worked with through this timeline of getting us here. Right? She is an exemplar of what happens when you can marshal a community to a good idea and move it forward, despite the challenges. I worked with her on the construction committee, and I want you to know it was clear where we were going. All right? Emily was very clear about what the parents expected and what the students deserved in terms of these schools. And I appreciate that she was part of that process. And as a Reiche community, you should be very grateful to the effort that she expended, not only on your behalf, but on behalf of all the families and the children in this city. So thank you, Emily, for everything you've done. This is the third time I've told her this, so hopefully she got the message. All right? Second, I want to recognize and appreciate the efforts of Mayor Strimling. Leaders sometimes plant and never see or have the opportunity to reap the harvest that they led on. During that process of getting bonds, there was a lot of stiff political winds blowing against the idea, but he was resolute in seeing it come to fruition. And I can say now as a mayor, sometimes that wind is pretty chilly, right? But you did it, Ethan, and thank you for that. And you all should thank you for that. And my third person, though not necessarily in that order, third, but that's what it is, Superintendent Botana. All right? I still remain in awe of the fact that he was able to provide leadership to a school system that still delivered on the needs of its children, that the education of our kids was not interrupted, that parents maintained an ability to access him and work through this entire process of reconstruction and still achieve academic goals that were intended. And I think all of us forget when everything is working, it's not an accident, right? I saw the energy and the commitment that he expended to try to move forward construction and remain true to his real charge was to make sure our children were attended to. So I hold him the highest regard and respect for being able to balance that. And during the construction phase, and Emily will join me on that, I have to tell you, there were moments, it was pretty tough. There were hard decisions to be made. There were a lot of variables that came into play that really pushed us to be creative. And the superintendent was there as a calm leader. He was unruffled. Now, I don't know what he said to himself or said out loud when he got to his car, all right? I've had those moments myself. But in the process, he behaved as the executive leader that we all expected in him. So I want to thank him for that. And I'll close with this. I truly love this city. I truly believe it's a great city. But it cannot be great without a great school system. That is the foundation of everything else. So I think this is a tangible representation that the city of Portland and its people, its families, and its children believe we are a great city. Thank you.
Emily.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Emily Figdor. I represent this community on the school board. And I also had the immense privilege of leading the community effort to pass the bond that provided the funding to renovate Reiche, and also co-chaired with Mayor Dian the committee that oversaw the renovations. I could not be more excited and happy to be here today with all of you to celebrate this tremendous milestone. We did it. We transformed Reiche and the other aging school buildings into 21st century learning environments, and we did it under budget and ahead of schedule. We know it takes a village to raise a child. We have learned that it takes a city to renovate our rundown schools. There were many naysayers when a ragtag few of us with kids in the schools started this effort in the fall of 2015. We built on previous waves of parents who had tried before us. The schools were in very poor condition and did not meet modern educational standards. That was not in dispute. But we heard many reasons why we couldn't possibly renovate the schools. The loudest one was that we should wait for the state to do it. The state has a major capital school construction program for the schools in the very worst condition across the entire state. And the state had already built us 3 brand new elementary schools, Ocean Ave, East End, and Row. But school construction is a local, not a state responsibility, and Portland had not made a major investment in our school buildings in a quarter of a century. It's a good thing we wouldn't take no for an answer. In the time that we passed the bond and rebuilt our 4 schools, the state finished construction on no schools at all from their 2017 to 2018 rating cycle. But we got to work. We organized across the city. I see so many faces that were involved from now that were involved in those very early days. Hundreds of us testified before the school board, the ad hoc committee on school facilities, and the city council. People came to rallies and protests, and remember Hands Around Reiche School? 66 volunteers knocked on nearly 25,000 doors all across the city. So many people, so many of you contributed in a multitude of ways. Once we passed the bond, we faced escalating construction costs, the COVID-19 pandemic, supply chain problems, and countless other hurdles. But nothing stopped our team. Portland's 4 renovated schools truly are a testament to what we can accomplish together as a city. I want to recognize some of the people particularly responsible for us being here today. First, the lead teachers at Reiche. I even saw Chris Keegan here today, so happily. The custodians and the staff at Reiche who kept the school open and our students learning throughout the construction. The team at Harriman, the architectural and engineering firm that redesigned the schools with a resolute commitment to transforming them on a very tight budget, led by Mark Lee, Lisa Salwin, Stephen Fraser, and Emily Waugh. Deirdre Wadsworth, Hardy Pond Construction, and all of the subcontractors and workers who did the actual physical labor. Former Superintendent Javier Botana and former Mayor Ethan Strimling, without whom these schools would have never been renovated. Dave Lewis, our owner's representative, now retired district operations staff Steve Stilfen and Doug Sherwood, and current district leaders Tamara Sweeney, Sarah Warren, and Superintendent Ryan Scallan. And then I also want to make a special shout out to Sarah Thompson, who's here with us today. This effort all started at the picnic table outside her house in 2015 as she was giving me boxes of old documents that I was rifling through to try and put together the history of the many different times that the district had hired architectural firms and had done studies looking at the poor conditions of our schools. And Sarah was an ally throughout and served on the committee overseeing the renovations and really had a large hand in this. So thank you, Sarah. And then I also wanted to personally thank Mayor Dian. He was one of our early supporters in terms of a city leader. At that point, he was a state senator who joined with us. Those of us parents in the community members. He was incredibly generous with me with his time, and he did some of the hard work that it takes to pass a bond citywide, going door to door, making social media videos, and then later co-chairing the building committee with me. And in really critical moments when we were at loggerheads and it was a hard path forward, the mayor was able to step in and help move things forward. So just a personal thanks to Mayor Dian. I also, my daughters are here today, sorry. And just a thanks to them. They, Bella, who's now a senior, canvassed on this, testified before the city council. My kids, Harper also was pulled to canvassing many days, but they lived through what was a very intense campaign for several years while I was working full-time and running the campaign. And then they have endured countless nights where I've been on committee meetings been on Zoom meetings while the work of the committee, while leading the work of the committee. So just thank you to my girls. And finally, and most importantly, I want to recognize each and every one of you who was involved in passing the bond, who voted for it, or who came to believe in it after the bond passed. These elementary schools are now worthy of our children and our staff, and it is thanks to you, Portland. I hope you feel pride in what we've accomplished together. I know I do. Thank you so much.
So it is an honor to welcome Mayor Dian, Superintendent Scallan, School Board Member Emily Figdor, fellow board members, and the Reiche community to this ribbon cutting day. I am Lori, one of the lead teachers at Reiche, and I just want to express our collective gratitude to the community for supporting the Buildings for a Future bond. And I want to just share a few A few brief comments about what it has meant to our students. So most of you know that Reiche was built in the 70s when open concept was all the rage. It's no longer the 70s, and the Reiche community has drastically changed. Today, Reiche has a wonderfully diverse population with over 55% of our students speaking multiple languages. And even though we figured out how to create classrooms by using rolling carts and partitions and bookcases, that didn't really work. The noise was just untenable at times. Teachers had to balance the conflict between knowing what was best practice at having kids talk, having them communicate with one another, with being quiet with the teacher next door so that you didn't interrupt that learning. We actually asked the PTO during Chris Keegan's time to purchase over 100 noise-canceling headphones to help mitigate the noise. So it's amazing to walk into Reiche now and know that we have walls and doors. We have spaces that invite dialogue and collaboration, spaces where students can gather together as a group, work with a partner, or find a quiet space to work independently. It just really is amazing. Prior to construction, a safe entry was also a concern for the Reiche community. We now have this entry that's not only inviting, but it's safe and secure. Our office staff can see students and parents as they walk up to the building. They can see the bus when it arrives, and this secure, inviting entry was really critical to our school community. Aesthetically, Reiche still feels like Reiche. Although you don't hear the wonderful buzz that you walk through the building, which is something I kind of miss at times, the library is still at the center. There's still this open, airy feeling to the building. The architects at Harriman were able to keep what is Reiche while creating classrooms and workspaces that support the work. And there's one memory that I want to share with you that I'll never forget that just tugs at my heart every fall when we open the doors. The construction happened in stages across 3 years. So there was always a part of the building that was old and a part of the building that was new. But that fall, when we first returned, it was the first time that students got to see the library. And you'll notice when you go in, there are these cute little colorful nooks where kids can read. The turquoise staircase is wrapped in this really beautiful pale wood. And there are these gorgeous light fixtures that hang from the ceiling. They're huge, and they cast light into the library. So the contrast from the previous very makeshift space to this newly completed space was both stark and stunning. And as I stood by the entry welcoming kids in on that fall day, a group of 3rd and 4th graders stopped and just stared up at those lights in the library, and they said, "This is our school. Reiche has built a mansion." And I think of that moment and what that space means for the kids that enter these doors every day, and I know we are all grateful. These spaces now reflect the value that we place on education for all of our children, the value that this community places on education. To walk in and to be invited to the joy of the learning by the space you step into is pretty amazing. So we're grateful for both Portland Schools leadership and the citizens of Portland for supporting this work. And now I'm going to invite up Adalah Bashar to speak. He's going to be our final speaker this morning.
Thank you and welcome to Reiche's ribbon cutting event. My name is Adalah Bashir and I'll be representing Reiche in this very special occasion. I'm very proud to be here to share my speech for everyone who has come here today. Ever since kindergarten, I have been growing and learning in Reiche with all these amazing people. And throughout all these years, Reiche has been growing every day. There have been a lot of changes happening around the school. There was one time when we used to have a computer lab with a bunch of computers that we usually considered it as an essential. But then there was like some changes, and then the computer lab was the art room, and now we had computers in our room. That was one of the minor changes in Reiche school. The bigger ones revolve around all the new walls that our construction team has built and recently finished. This is why we are here today. We got new things like interactive TVs, other tools, new art rooms, a new music room, some new classroom, and my favorite part, the library. Library got new stairs, new sections, more TVs, and more tools, and a lot more space. All these changes are amazing and very cool. I remember first time I walked here in the school with all the new walls and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. It was amazing. I'm so happy of all the changes and how much Reiche has grown. Thank you everyone for coming.
Nice job.
So these guys can hold the ribbon too?
Hold on. One voice each here. Listen, we're going to open the scissor. Open the scissor.
Turn your body a little bit.
Good, good. Okay, this is how we're going to do it.
Can't move.
The ribbon won't cut unless it's tight. So when I say one, those who are holding the ribbon pull it tight. When I say two, take a breath. Then I say three, cut the ribbon. You got it? You all clear?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.